Good morning, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Welcome back to Coffee with Kem and Hills. Oh my gosh, I'm feeling like that. It's the early week achy bones.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
But I just think it's because my kid's not sleeping. I don't know what's going on with her, but it's okay. Yeah. We're going to survive.
We will get through. You will power through and eventually get a night's sleep at some point.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of learn you learn that you can survive anything basically once you become a parent.
It's true. And you can survive on way less sleep than you thought you ever wanted
That
to.
is so true.
Yeah.
I mean, it truly is.
Yeah.
I used to be like, I need like 12 hours a night. Like, I was ridiculous. So yeah, I realized that if I could get especially when she was first born, 3 consecutive hours, I'd be I feel so refreshed.
Right. And then you get to that golden 5 hours and you're like, I'm a new person.
I know.
This?
I don't even need coffee.
I can do this all day, every day. Bring it on.
I know.
And then they start sleeping.
And then you get back into the old habits of sleep.
Right.
Actual sleep.
Oh, and that's tough.
I know. How was your morning? Was it good?
This was better. It was good.
I'm glad.
My daughter is sleeping through the night, which is nice.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah. Her thing these days is learning to ride her bike.
Oh.
With stabilizers, also known as training wheels.
Yes.
We clearly watch a lot of Peppa Pig in our house. So we call them stabilizers.
Stabilizers. Oh, is that the British way?
Yeah.
Oh, I should know that. My husband. I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah.
And he'll be like, the stabilizers. And I'll be like, what? Oh, yeah.
So she's very determined to get her legs stronger so that she can ride her bike.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. She's like, my legs need to be stronger.
Yeah, because going uphill is a little tough.
It is tough.
And it is.
I agree.
And on the way to school is it's not a hill by any means, but it's a slight upcline.
Yeah.
Or incline. And sometimes it's a little bit, some streets are a little bit more flat and some have a little bit more. So
you feel it when you're on the bike for sure.
Especially when your legs are that long. Yeah.
Right. I know. Just those little kids, skinny legs, just trying to muscle up the hill.
So we're working on that, which is pretty fun.
That's so cute.
And she's really determined to learn, which is really cute.
Aww.
Yeah. Riding bikes in a dress though is a whole extra thing that I
for sure, yeah.
Because she only wears dresses, so that's a whole extra thing. I'm like, maybe this is the opportunity to start wearing shorts and shirts for the summertime.
Right.
It hasn't worked yet, but we'll see.
No,
not yet.
She's gonna be in a dress on that bike going uphill. Mm-hmm. That's how it's gonna be.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's so cute. Oh, I can't wait for all these phases. I'm telling you.
It's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's very cute. Okay, so let's dive into hot topics. Hot topics. We just haven't done that in a while, so I thought I'd throw it in.
Love it.
Okay, this article is from Kiplinger. I'm retired. Mm-hmm. Should I pay off my mortgage? So they give you some tips. A few different situations categories that you might fall into, and explain whether you would be a viable candidate or not.
Yeah. And I think it's tough. One of the ways they start out the article is talking about Dave Ramsey, and his philosophy is that you should not have any debt and you should get your debt down as much as possible. Mm-hmm. But then alternatively, they talk about Rick Edelman, who is a personal finance company founder, who I had never heard of before this article, but apparently he's pretty well known.
Yeah, he's
and he says to stretch out your debt, so to not pay it off in lump sums. So there's definitely two different sides to the coin. Mm-hmm. And I think this article does a good job of breaking it down as to where do you fit, which category do you fit into, mm-hmm. and which one might be the right avenue for you to proceed in.
Yeah, so... Okay, the first category, you have the money in cash because you are scared of the market. Okay, if this is you, in this case, you should pay off your mortgage. And I think they explained it well. Mm-hmm. This even made sense to me. Can you believe it? Okay, if you have money in cash, at most, you are likely making 0.25% on your savings account, whereas you are being charged, well, depending on, what the interest rate is, 3.75% on your mortgage. So you are losing 3.5% every year you hang on to that loan. I've never thought of it that way, but that's really interesting.
Yeah, I think and this is called arbitrage.
Arbitrage, yes. They use that word a lot.
Fancy word. And I think you explained it really well, is that you are losing out on, basically your money is not working hard enough for you.
Right, you don't have enough gain to
offset the loan amount.
Right.
The interest rate.
Voila. See, it makes sense.
Yep.
There are downsides. They do give the downsides. If you pay off your mortgage, you are putting money into a piggy bank that you won't get back unless you sell the house or tap the equity. So, I mean, it just kind of depends on what your future goals are too, like with the house, like maybe that was your plan, was to, sell it. So, but this one also made sense to me as a downside. Also, okay, holding a mortgage loan is like an inflation hedge. It's so true, especially now that we're in inflation. I feel like we're experiencing inflation in a very severe way. I know for myself, we got our house in 2020 when rates were at an all-time low.
Yep.
And it does kind of feel like that right now, because, the principal and interest payments stay at a fixed rate, regardless of what happens with interest rates,
Right.
So I like that. I like it's an inflation hedge.
Yeah. And I think it also can feel very scary and can be a negative, to your point earlier, if because you're putting this money into a piggy bank that you aren't going to be able to access, you're losing that liquidity. So, making sure you have these other areas, other savings, other cash available to you should you need it, is also, I think, an important consideration to take into with this category number 1.
Yes, category number 1. Now, welcome to category number 2 that involves reverse arbitrage, right?
Yes, you got it.
Thank you very much. In this case, you should not pay off your mortgage, and it is like the reverse of what we just said. So from 1991 to 2020, the S&P 500 return was at 10.72% on average annually.
Yeah.
So you would have lost, now you just subtract the 3.5% interest rate, right? From the 10.72%. And that means you're losing 7.22% per year.
Yeah.
You still with me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I am.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
So, and the only downside to this is that stocks can always swing the other way.
Right. I mean, that is an average over a 20-year period, right?
That's a decent amount of time.
Which is a decent amount of time. And the stock market right now feels a little bit of a risky place to have your stocks.
Right.
However, it could be a good time to find some deals, but it also depends on how long you have. There's so many factors, and that's why, doing your research on stocks, talking to somebody who is a financial advisor, that's super important these days. But the ultimate thing is that, by leaving your money in the stock market, you have the ability for it to grow. If you pull it out, you do not.
Right, exactly. So there's only one more left.
Yeah.
One more category left. Well, let's see if you fall into it. You have money in a retirement account. In this case, you should not pay off your mortgage. So, when you pull funds from a pre-tax retirement account, those amounts are included in your taxable income and taxed at ordinary income rates. Yeah. So you're going to not be getting
the full amount that you actually pull out. You're going to have to be paying.
You're going to be losing a lot.
Taxes on it.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly.
And basically the downside of this is that there's comfort in living debt-free.
Yeah. There is. I mean, not having to make that mortgage payment every month feels like a nice, situation to be in.
Yeah.
But if it's not the smart thing to do for your money in the long term, it's
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we hope we could help you find what category you fit into.
And I think it's also worth talking to a professional too, if that's something that you're considering and you have questions
definitely
about
don't
it.
just take our word for it. Please speak to a professional, please. We're just here to spark ideas.
Yeah, just spark ideas and conversation.
Exactly. On that note, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we'll be right back with some more hot topics and hot coffee. Welcome back, everyone. Don't you worry, we've got some more hot topics for you.
We do.
This next article is from the Wall Street Journal. Investors' housing bets are on shaky foundations. Dun, dun, dun. So, rent growth, I feel like, as we all know and are familiar with, in the US has been extraordinary lately, which has encouraged investors to pay high prices, right?
An increase of 12% on professionally managed.
Rental properties, right?
Yeah.
I complete her sentences and she completes my sentences.
I could not think of that word for the life of me. Clearly, I need some more coffee.
It's okay. Happy Tuesday. Here we are. Anyway, so as interest rates go up, property owners are becoming dependent on growth in rent, which makes sense to deliver a decent investment in return, right?
Yes.
But there's only so much that tenants are going to be able to dish out.
Right.
So it's kind of an interesting...
It's definitely an interesting balance.
Yeah.
And one of the things that they do talk about in the article is how there's been such an influx of new renters in the last year.
Yeah.
Thanks to, student loan deferrals,
Stimulus checks,
wage growth. Like there's a lot of reasons why you might have been living with roommates and you're
like students and
you're like, actually, I can afford to live by myself.
Totally.
And I don't want to be around all these people all the time because of the pandemic. I've spent way too much time with you people.
Right.
I'm out.
Yep, bye-bye.
But there's only so much that market can sustain.
Right. Those extra funds that were maybe coming in are probably depleted at this point or in the near future, not to mention with the rising costs of rent. So, and everything else, basically. Gas, groceries, everything.
Right.
So, yeah, there's a chance that there won't be such, high demand for renters. Although right now, vacancy rates in rented accommodations are low at about 5%, which gives landlords pricing power, of course.
Yep.
Home ownership is increasingly unaffordable, which we talk about literally all the time on the show, forcing people to rent.
Yes.
And current fixed rates, they have reached 5.78. So,
and that's as of last week.
Yeah, that's very recent.
And it's, as we've talked about before,
Check
that
hourly.
is checking hourly. Yeah. So who knows what it is? Like when the article was written on the 22nd of June, that's what it was at that point.
Right.
So.
Right. But I didn't realize that they were up that high already.
Yeah.
But they are. Happy, joy.
I think that there is... I think that there's hope. Looks like there's some semblance of, light in the horizon for renters because there were 1.1 million new units, single-family housing units that started construction in 2021. So most likely that will be coming online within the next year or so.
Right.
And that is more than in the last 13 years. There hasn't been over 1 million units in the last 13 years that have gone online in 1 year. So that's really exciting that there's more.
Yep. There's also a lot of new supply on the way when it comes to new construction, which will hopefully lower the cost of
renting or even buying a new home, hopefully. Yeah. But I think that for investors specifically who have been getting into the rental property market, and to your point earlier, a lot of them have gotten into rental properties because the return is high, whereas commercial real estate is low these days. It's down 3.8% from pre-pandemic time. A lot of people aren't necessarily headed back to the office like all those CEOs want them to.
Right, exactly. Which we talk about a lot as well on the show.
So they've shifted their money and their energies into rental properties.
Right.
So who knows how that's going to shake out for the long term.
I know, and it has been very lucrative, but it is hard because they have such rising costs that they have to keep up with.
Right.
You know, but yeah, people aren't going to be able to keep up with the rising rents to offset the rising costs of, you know, the rentees.
Yes.
The rentees.
The rentees.
Is that even a word?
I don't think so.
No,
That's fine. We're into it.
You know, renters, rentees.
Yeah. I like it.
Come see, come saw. I don't know.
And then one other thing that the article mentions kind of at the end is talking about REITs, which is real estate investment
Go for it.
trusts.
Right.
That is a way for people to kind of invest in real estate in the market.
Yes.
And those values are down 22% to the gross asset value. So I think they mention this in the article as a tie-in to the fact that, you know, these are people who are investing in real estate as an investment as part of their portfolio, not like an actual property.
Right.
So it's possible that these people are seeing that the real estate market might be hitting its peak and might be going on the downturn.
Right. So that's interesting. I feel like when we've been covering lately, you know, potential rental properties, we've talked about how it's a pretty lucrative, you know, option for people.
Yeah, especially for like single or like smaller investors.
Right. But there are just some things to consider right now, just in this economic climate that we're in. So I thought this was pretty interesting.
Yeah, I did too.
Sort of things are moving and changing on the daily.
Yeah, every day is a new day for the stock market, for the real estate market, for interest rates. It's all, who knows?
I know. I feel like in the span of a week, we were talking about how tech companies were hiring, offering bonuses, trying to get people in, and then like the next week we're like, the tech companies are laying people off.
They're laying people off. They're like, freezing hiring.
I know. It's just a strange climate.
Yeah.
I know we're all in it and experiencing it and feeling it, but wow, it's true.
It is.
And we're here to keep you up to date with all of it. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. But we will be right back so I can remind you about the shows airing today on ROI TV. Welcome back, everyone. This is just a friendly reminder not to miss today's episodes of Cunningham Legal, Mortgage Q&A, Medicare School, and Elder Needs Law. You can catch them all on ROI TV. Where?
Roku, Amazon Fire TV, Apple TV, or on your phone, whether it's an Android or an Apple.
Thanks again for joining us on another episode of Coffee with Kem and Hills. We will see you tomorrow, Wednesday, hump day. Still doesn't feel
More
right.
coffee.
With more coffee. Thank you for tuning in, and we will see you tomorrow.